Hello everyone, Jules here. Today I'd like to talk about a tarot deck that has recently been published. That is the Shining Tribe Tarot by Rachel Pollack. Here is the box, and this has been published recently this year by Weiser. And there's a little bit of a background story or information about this deck that I'm going to talk about as well before I show some of the cards. I have got another video on my channel, on my tarot review playlist, about the two previous decks before this one. A lot of people think that this is the second deck or the second edition of the Shining Tribe, and technically that is true, but there is a much older deck that even predates the Shining Tribe Tarot, and that deck is the Shining Woman Tarot, and this was published in 1992, so that is at least 30 years ago. And the other video on my channel, on my tarot review playlist, there is a video about this deck, and it is compared with what later became the Shining Tribe Tarot in 2001. This deck, when it first arrived on the scene in 1992, was different and way ahead of its time than anything that had been published before. So I think it's a good idea for people who are interested to have a look at that video, if they're interested, to do a bit of a comparison where I will talk about that. And this deck was originally called the Shining Woman because of the Shining Woman card in the deck that is also in the Shining Tribe Tarot. And the name was changed, and some of the cards were changed for the Shining Tribe. And Rachel Pollack changed the name to the Shining Tribe in 2001 because Rachel Pollack didn't want people to think that this was a woman-only deck. Rachel Pollack created this deck for everyone, so that was why the name was changed. But it was called Shining Woman after the World card. It's the equivalent in a way to the World card, and it is called the Shining Woman card. So that's why it was called the Shining Woman in the first place. And I got this deck in many years ago because Rachel Pollack was a frequent traveller to Australia, and Rachel Pollack was quite widely travelled, and I got this deck. This is a rare edition because I don't think it was printed or published. It wasn't printed for very long. I don't think there's many. I think there was just maybe the one single printing, something like that. So this is the only edition of the Shining Woman Tarot. So I got this from a friend of an Australian woman who was a friend of Rachel Pollack. And this is the original guidebook for the Shining Woman Tarot. And it got revised and expanded quite a bit for the 2001 deck. So that's the story with that. And as I said, you can look at the video on my channel on the Tarot Review playlist if you're interested in that. Then that was 1992. Then in 1997, Rachel Pollack wrote a book called The Body of the Goddess. and this would probably be out of print. But this was published in 1997, about 5 years after the Shining Woman Tarot. And this book, if you can get it, actually does explain a bit further about the kind of ideas and concepts that Rachel Pollack had based the Shining Woman Tarot on. So the subtitle is Sacred Wisdom in Myth, Landscape and Culture. So these are the kinds of things Rachel Pollack was interested in at the time, and also in later years as well, but around the time that the Shining Woman Tarot was created. So I'll put the details below the video for people who want to try to get that book. So I'm just talking about the sort of background to the lead up of the new deck, which is being described as the definitive edition, and I'll kind of talk about why it is a kind of definitive edition. Here is the book for the Shining Tribe from 2001. So up the top here it already says revised and expanded. This is revised and expanded from the Shining Woman Tarot book. So this is the book. But if you want to see cards from this deck as well, from 2001, it's all in the one video, where I've got a video about the Shining Woman and Shining Tribe Tarot. That is the title of the video. So now I've got that out of the way. So you go from 1992, and then that book, Body of the Goddess, 1997. Then 2001, you've got the Shining Tribe Tarot. Now for this year, 2024, you have the new Rachel Pollack Shining Tribe Tarot, published by Weiser. The Shining Tribe Tarot in 2001 was published by Llewellyn. Okay, now to talk about this deck, and this might take a little while to get into this this topic about this deck. Okay, so here's the box, nice hard cardboard box that lifts up, and the cards fit inside in the recessed cardboard. I'm going to just move this out of the way because I'm going to be running out of room quite soon. Here is the book. It is a great book. So it's been revised yet again for this 2024 edition. This has got the Spiral of Fortune card on here. Instead of the Wheel of Fortune, it's a Spiral of Fortune. I like the way this book has been revised. I like it. It is colour-coded for all of the different suits. I think that's good. There's some spreads in the back. There's a really good introduction, which is really worthwhile reading. All coloured pictures in here. For example, we've got this here. I really love the artwork. I mean, I am a fan. That's why I've got this as the third. This is technically like the third edition for me, even though it's a second edition of the Shining Tribe. But I see it as a third edition because of the Shining Woman Tarot. I am a fan of Rachel Pollack. I'm a fan of the deck. I like the artwork. For some people, they may see it as too simplistic, but it actually isn't. There's many layers to this deck. I remember when the Shining Woman Tarot first came out, I didn't quite know what to make of it because it was very different, ahead of its time. But once I got the deck and I started to understand what it was all about, I was really keen on the whole thing. This is a tribal deck. It's really a tribute to Indigenous wisdom. I know that over the years there was a little bit of dismissal by people making comments about whether this was cultural appropriation in some way. It isn't at all. This does not denigrate or exploit Indigenous wisdom. Rachel Pollack was very respectful about all of these different Indigenous traditions and always stated where these ideas came from. I think some of those occasional comments about cultural appropriation were usually by people who did not have the deck and who did not actually read the guidebooks to find out what Rachel Pollack's attitude actually was about all of this. So this is a great book. When this deck came out recently, I sort of thought, oh, do I really need this deck? I've already got the Shining Woman and the First Shining Tribe deck. Do I really need this? And then I realised when I saw a very brief video that's been put out by Weiser, I was quite impressed with the look of the book and the cards. I thought, well, I don't need this deck, but I want this deck. It's going, it is different. It is different again to the first edition of the Shining Tribe. Some of the cards have been coloured a bit differently. It says in the introduction to the book that these colourings of these images are more in line with what Rachel Pollack wanted, so that's good. And when I heard that, I thought, well, yes, I do want this deck for that reason alone. There's 5 extra cards. Now I'm going to talk about this in a moment as well, because there is a little bit of confusion going on about these 5 extra cards. These 5 extra cards are just bonus cards. They were created after the Shining Tribe Tarot was created. So these are totally 5 bonus separate cards, and it's actually mentioned in the introduction as well. So some people may get the impression that these is an addition to the deck. They're not. Rachel Pollack has obviously said that these cards can be seen as 5 extra cards to the deck if you wish to use them. For example, I'm likely to use at least one of these cards as a significator. But technically they are not part of the deck. So I just wanted to say that straight up. So I'll show you some of these additional cards. Of course, this is another reason to get the deck if you're interested. This is called Portrait of Albert. Portrait of Albert. Albert apparently is like a animal totem spirit guide, and I think he's a red fox. And this could be seen as an extra arcana card, or the spirit suit that Rachel Pollack called this, the spirit suit for the major arcana. So that's Albert, the animal spirit guide. This one is called Knowledge and Life, and this is, I really like this. It's really portraying the tree of life, and it's also referring back to the book of Genesis, where there's the tree of life and the tree of knowledge. And this is like this. It could be added to the trees suit, which is like the wands suit. This is the Sphinx in Eden. So this could be added to the rivers, which is the water suit. By the way, the cardstock is good. It's flexible and sturdy. The only thing I'm a little bit disappointed is that it's got a matte finish, very light lamination. I would have liked just a little bit more lamination, but that's a slight disappointment. This is a bird called Saint Teresa. These are the names that Rachel Pollack gave these. This could be added to the bird suit, which is air. And this is Tiamat. And this, because there is a stone in the mouth of the serpent, this could be added to the stone suit, which is the earth suit. So they're the 5 extra cards. Now, the little bit of confusion, there was a little bit of confusion about whether these are actually part of the deck. They're technically not, okay? So I wanted to say that. The other thing is, so you've got an 83 card. I wouldn't call it a deck because it's not really part of the deck, but it's like 78 plus 5. Totals 83 cards in the set. Okay, now to talk about, this is where another little bit of confusion I've seen on some internet post. In the book, in the beginning of the book, Rachel Pollack mentions in this book that there are 5 cards that have got an additional title of dreaming, the dreaming concept. Now, Rachel Pollack says, about the whole dreaming concept comes from the Australian Aborigines, and the Australian Aboriginal culture goes back at least 50 to 60,000 years. And if I can, I might just read the little bit from the book where Rachel Pollack refers to this. And I hope I can see this, because I might have to swap glasses in a moment. The print in the book is a little bit small for me. Other people will probably be quite okay with it. Okay, I think I will need to swap glasses. I'm not sure. Or I might try something else. Just bear with me for a moment. Sorry about this. I use 2 different pairs of glasses. One for making videos, one for reading small print. And I'll see if I can do this. No, I think I will have to switch glasses. Sorry about this, people. I thought I could do this, but I may not be able to do this. So have to switch glasses. I hope this doesn't confuse things for the rest of the video. Confuse me. Okay. This is what Rachel Pollack says on page 7, I think it is, of the book. Here it is. 5 cards, 1 for each suit, bear the title Dreaming. And by that, Rachel Pollack means that it is actually in the book. There's a title in the book that says Dreaming. Right, I'll give you an idea of this. For example, The Lovers. And then there's a subtitle, Red Angel Dreaming. Where the word is used after the title, the word dreaming is used. There is 5 cards. I'll show you them. There are 5 cards. They are not, the title is not on the card, but it's in the book. Okay. That can be confusing. And some people have confused those cards with the 5 extra cards. The 5 extra cards have got nothing to do with the deck technically, because they were created after the deck. Sorry about this, but I hope you're following with me. Right. So, get back to this little paragraph again. Okay, this is the paragraph about the 5 cards that are part of the deck. 5 cards, 1 for each suit, and that includes the major arcana, bear the title Dreaming. The term comes from the Australian Aborigines. I borrow it with respect, due to a network of traditions reaching back as far as 50,000 years. Again, I do not attempt to use the expression in the same way as the people in Australia do. In Shining Tribe, the 5 dreamings represent images of special intensity that act as powerful gateways to the sacred. So in that paragraph on page 7 of the guidebook, in the introduction, Rachel Pollack is clearly stating that these dreaming cards were inspired by the Australian Aboriginal culture, inspired. There are in fact hundreds of dreaming tales and myths from the Australian Aboriginals. Hundreds. There's far more than 5, but these are just inspired by those concepts. Okay, that's another thing I needed to mention. Now, I'm going to have to switch these glasses back over again. I hope I might need to read something else again in the book in a moment. Right, now, for these particular cards, and I've made a list, a little note of what these cards are. So, this is the Lover's card, and this is called Red Angel Dreaming. Now you can see that it says the Lovers, and it's numbered, number 6, but there is no dreaming on the title of the card. So you have to get that information from the titles in the book. So that is the Lovers. It's one of my favourite cards. That is called Red Angel Dreaming. And Rachel Pollack said that these are cards of special intensity, that it can be used as gateways to the sacred. This is the 7 of Trees. So this is like the wand suit. 7 of Trees is called in-country dreaming. That's 7 of Trees, in-country dreaming. Then you have Rivers, which is the water. This is the Knower of Rivers. This is one of the vision cards. These are called vision cards rather than court cards. The Knower is a little bit like the Knight, but I'll talk about those vision cards as well in a moment. The Knower of Rivers is the Knower is a bit like a Knight. The Knower of Rivers, and this is deep water dreaming. Deep water dreaming. And then you have, so you've got one for each suit, including the major arcana where you have, or the spirit suit where you have the Lovers, which is Red Angel Dreaming. Then you have got the 5 of Birds. This is the air suit. The 5 of Birds is called Mud Body Dreaming. So it's the Mud Body. That's a 5 of Birds, Mud Body Dreaming. That. And the last one is the Gift of Stones, and this is called Gift Mother Dreaming. And the gift cards are part of the vision cards. The gift is a bit like the Queen in a usual tarot. But I'm going to talk more about these vision cards. How they are a little bit like a court card, but then not really. I'll explain that. So that's the gift of stones, which is the earth suit. That is called gift mother dreaming. So the word mother is used as well because this is more like a queen. Good. Okay, so these are the actual dreaming, the 5 dreaming cards, or the dreaming inspired by the Australian Aboriginal dreaming, or what they call the dream time stories. Okay, and they're different to the 5 additional cards. This is part of the deck. Okay, while I'm here, before I show some major arcana cards, which is the spirit suit, I'm going to just talk about these vision cards. Now the vision cards, they're sort of a little bit like court cards, but Rachel Pollack actually states what the difference is. It's really the experience, the different levels of experience of the suit, of the element in each case. So you have the place of trees. It's really the introduction to the element, or first experience. So these are all the trees. I'm showing the vision cards of the trees suit to give you a bit of a feeling for it. So this is the place of trees. So this is like the first experience of the tree, which is really like the wands or the fire element. So it's place of trees, place. Now, Rachel Pollack makes a point also of saying that these are not people. These are experiences of different levels. So they're not people like court cards. This is the knower of trees, and this is one of my favourite cards in the whole deck. So this is like the knight. The knower is like a knight, but I'm saying that. But this is the knower. This is knowing the tree element, which is the fire element or wands element in this suit. Getting to know the tree spirits or the tree divas. You're at the knowing level when you get to this card. Then you have the gift of trees. So this is when you have understood this element to the stage that it becomes a gift. You are gifted with that. And this is a bit like a mother or a queen level. I think it's best to think of these as levels rather than people for this deck. So this is the gift of trees. And then you have the speaker of trees, which some people would think of the level of a king. This is when you have received the gift of the element and you are able to speak the knowledge of the element. Speaker of trees. So these are the vision cards of each, I'm just showing you the trees one to see you've got an idea of what sort of the levels are like of the experience of the element. So these are vision cards which replace the usual court cards, even though they're not people. Okay, so that's that. Now to show you some favourite major arcana cards. I haven't showed a lot of other cards. I'm not showing a lot of other cards in this because if you see the other video on my channel, you will see some other cards in the deck. The other cards, minor cards from 1 to 10, things like that. So I'm just showing you, I'm just finishing off with some of the favourite cards that I like from the deck. This is the High Priestess. So this has the title and the number. I think the advantage of having light lamination on these cards is that it does make the details very clear. I'm able to see more symbolism in these cards because of the light lamination. So I like that part. But I just think there could have been a little bit more lamination. That's my preference. So it's the High Priestess. The Empress. It's a beautiful Empress card. In the book, it explains the images and gives you an idea of the inspiration for the cards. The Emperor. Really like this Emperor card. I'm not usually a fan of the Emperor, but I like this. So you can probably see just how ahead of its time this deck was. In some ways it still is. It's a tribal deck, it's also shamanic too. This is Strength. Some people may not like the borders, but for this deck it seems to be okay. Maybe it just makes the colours pop more. I don't know what it is, but I don't know that this deck would sort of work without borders. For me, I'm not so sure. I'm so used to seeing all three of these decks with a border of some kind. I'm not so sure that it would feel the same for me if the border wasn't there, so I'm okay with the border. That's Strength. This is the Spiral of Fortune, which is on the book. There's just so many layers to this deck. That's why I love that. Great Death card. And a lot of the symbolism is explained in the book too. I think only Rachel Pollack could create this deck. Rachel Pollack understood tarot inside and out. So only Rachel Pollack could create something like this and be able to explain everything about it as well. Death card. Beautiful Moon card. Unusual yet again, but it fits with the deck. It's the Moon card. Great Sun card. So you've got really like the twins from the Marseille here. So I really like that. Some beautiful Awakening. This is Awakening for Judgment. Beautiful card. Another favourite card. And finishing with the Shining Woman, which is the World. So it says the World dash Shining Woman. So I think that's a great card to finish on. Oh, and I must remember the backs. Here are the backs. They are reversible, and there are reversible meanings in the book as well for people who want to use them. I don't use them all that much. I just feel that there is so much in the upright meanings, and I think you'd have to be quite proficient with this deck, like Rachel Pollack was, to be able to use all that many reversals. That's the World card, Shining Woman. Okay, well, as I said, I am a fan. This version is a definitive version. It is worth getting. It's worth getting for people who, of course, don't have any versions of this deck, of course. But if you like the art. I know that some people may not relate to the art style, so you would not be interested in getting this deck. But for people who are Rachel Pollack fans, as I am, so here's the book again. For people who are Rachel Pollack fans, and if you do have the version before this one, the 2001 version, you might be interested in this because the book is different in comparison to the Shining Tribe from 2001. So for people who, as I said, for those reasons, and you are a Rachel Pollack fan and you just want to get to know this deck and you want to learn more about all of the ideas and concepts that are in the images and in the book, they are the reasons for getting this. But I do think it is a great version of this deck. So I'm going to finish there, and I'm going to put details below the video, lots of details below the video for people who are interested. So I hope that also explains a bit more too about what the 5 extra cards, the 5 extra bonus cards are about, and how they are different to the 5 dreaming inspired cards that are actually part of the deck. So I will put some details below the video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.